Can you explain the difference between acute and chronic when it relates to Lyme disease?
Acute means you feel miserable. It's happening right then. I went out for a walk in the woods. I came home. I found a tick on my leg. It had crawled up underneath my shorts and I had to pull it out. The next day I wake up and may or may not see fever migraines, that bullseye rash. It's in the middle, then a blanchable skin, and then red around the outside. You don't have to have that actually to have Lyme. Sometimes people don't ever see that. Sometimes they don't ever notice that, but they still have Lyme. So acute means typically it's within a few hours or a few days of when you have that exposure to the original bite when they got bitten the first time. And then chronic means that it's something that happened a long time ago. They either weren't aware that they had the infection, oftentimes that happens, or they knew they had it, they received treatment years ago, maybe they went to a regular doctor after they did find the tick and had the bullseye. They maybe got doxycycline or amoxicillin, something like that. They felt better or maybe mostly better, but this is years later and they still have some of the same symptoms. The symptoms maybe will ebb and flow depending on what's going on in their life. Chronic symptoms that show up again is called a flare of symptoms. We're talking about the bacteria, Borrelia burgdorferi, or some other kind of Borrelia. That's the antigen. The immune system sees that and it launches an attack and it makes antibodies. The kind of antibodies that come out in the beginning are IgM. Think M, I feel miserable. It's happening right now. Those antibodies come out within 72 hours. They peak and then they start to go away and they can last a couple weeks to a couple months. Usually by 5 or 6 months, they're gone. In the meantime, after about a week, IgG antibodies come out. They also peak and then they taper off and they may or may not go away. With Lyme, it's a little different. We look at antibodies a little bit differently. We look at different bands. There are certain bands that are more prevalent with Lyme, especially chronic Lyme. But that's our body's memory. It's how we know that we've been exposed to something. If it's something like the flu, where it comes and goes, the IgG antibodies are the ones that if we get exposed to the very same flu again, maybe we have a less severity. Lyme is the great masquerader. It just loves to be different things to different people at different times. It could be chronic fatigue, chronic muscle pain, stiffness, headaches, migraines, jaw pain, pain that kind of moves from one area of the body to the other. Some people, for kids especially, it can result in mood changes, tics, OCD, things like that. The presentation is a little bit different for the person and for the age and also for the amount of time between the exposure and actually being treated. Genetics and environment plays a role too. I can't tell you how many people come to me for the first time. They feel terrible. I do this blood panel and they come back and they have those IgG bands and they're like, I never had Lyme. And I'm like, well, you wouldn't have made the antibodies unless you had exposure to that bacteria. A lot of people who are Lyme literate believe that you can pass this from mom through to the child. Some people don't feel that way. They believe that it's only through exposure. Either way, you either got it from your mom or you got it because you were exposed, but you have it because you wouldn't make antibodies if you didn't get exposed. Right. How many people walk around, they have no awareness that they had this going on and they think it's something else. There's rarely a false positive. There's all the time false negatives. It's just not a very virulent test. It just doesn't do a very good job at picking up Lyme. There's 2 companies that I really, 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 really like. They are like the gold standard. And most of the Lyme literate doctors don't even recognize the second one because the other one has just been around for such a long time. This second company has done a really good job upping their game. They've really gone through a lot of certification recently to say we are just as good as this guy. So absolutely contact us if you're interested. And there's more information about it on the website too. If you do struggle with chronic Lyme, it is hard to not wear that as an identity. Lyme is not who you are. It's something that you struggle with. Take courage, have hope, and don't give up. There is hope.